Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and our Oklahoma Ride Along series. I'd like to thank you for choosing to spend some time with me. So let me give you a rundown of what's been going on. We've got the Halloween machine here in the shed. We got it warming up. So last night I was able to finish combining the wheat on field 35. We're going to get started today on field 36. There was a chance of rain last night. As you can see, it's kind of cloudy. There was a chance of rain last night. It did not rain, but there is some pretty heavy dew on the grass and on everything this morning. So we probably won't get started combining real early today. But that's all right because we've got to run. Our wheat truck is full. The combine, as you can see, is over there backed into the other shed. It still has a little bit of grain in the tank. So first thing we're going to do today is we're going to take this load down to, I believe it is the, I don't know, we'll check. We'll check and see which co-op is paying the most today. Alright, let's go and see sort of where we're at here. So as you can see, for field 35, we finished harvesting that, like I said, yesterday. And if we go to precision farming, we will take a look at how our yields did. Now, this is just for, I still have field 34 yet to combine. We're going to work on that today. But for field 35, as you can see, it did pretty decent. Now, if I'm reading this, let's see, if I'm reading this chart correctly, I would say that we were somewhere for this field, you know, other than a couple of little red spots, which were probably just a mapping error. I'd say we were somewhere between 85 and probably 100%. So we were somewhere in between on this field 35. I don't know. There might have been some 105% in there. Maybe. It's kind of hard to tell. But anyways, I did pretty good. So let's see here. Now all this data over here is going to be skewed. And I'm going to explain that here in just a minute as we drive to the co-op. Okay, so who's paying the most for wheat today? The Planters Cooperative is paying a whopping $12.16 a bushel, which is closer to realistic than it was, and I'll explain that as well once we get going here. All right, we're going to go to the Planters Cooperative. So here we go. Now, I've been pretty happy with this grain truck so far. It is a nice mod. It holds a reasonable amount of grain for, you know, a starter grain truck. It gets down the road pretty well, and I have not regretted my choice of grain trucks so far. So let me explain a little bit about what I was mentioning there as far as the yields go and the pricing goes. So if you guys saw the last video, you'll remember that that's the first video that I showed in which we were doing any combining. And immediately, or pretty close to immediately, I noticed how high the yield was in that field 35. And I think it's partly just a Giants thing, and I don't know, it might have been, I mean, not a Giants thing, but I think partly it was like a stock farming simulator thing. I think partly it was maybe a precision farming app thing. But the field was making like 210, 212 bushels to the acre, which is extremely, extremely high, especially for Oklahoma. And I actually did go back and I did some searching online to figure out what the record yield in bushels per acre or equivalent was. And in 2020, a farmer in New Zealand recorded and this was it was a it was an official yield. So I mean it's the real deal. It was 258 bushels to the acre. This farmer in New Zealand recorded in the year 2020. So I guess wheat yields over 200 are possible, but they're just not. They're not a thing in Oklahoma. I can tell you that. At least not on a large scale. So what I did is I went out and looking kind of for a solution to sort of make that more realistic. And I found a mod in the mod hub, and I think I'd seen it before, but I'd never used it. It's called Fruit Adjustments. And it's a pretty slick little mod. It's just got a Lua file inside, and you basically can just input whatever you want for like your yields, your seed usage when you're planting. You can input your sale prices in, and it's just a factor. And it's if you know anything about scripting and Lua files or XML editing, it's a pretty easy little mod to work with. And so what I did is I just went out and I found a USDA document online, and it was for average yields in the years, let's see, 2017, 2018, and 2019. And so I found that for Oklahoma. I found those yields for Oklahoma in that document, and I just averaged all those together and converted them over to liters per square meter, which is what the Lua file wanted. And so I now basically have the correct yields for all the crops in Farming Simulator that are grown in Oklahoma. And so I've got everything as far as yields go. I've got everything changed. I have changed the pricing. As you can see, I got $7,600 or whatever for this load of wheat, which is pretty outstanding and somewhat unrealistic. But anyways, I've got all the yield numbers corrected for Oklahoma. I have changed the pricing number for wheat just a little bit, because if you'll remember back there where it was like $12.07 or something, when I just uploaded the fruit adjustment and hadn't adjusted any of the pricing numbers yet, the highest price that they were paying in game for wheat was like $35 and something, and that's way crazy. So I did adjust that down just a little bit, not very scientific. I just took it down a couple of decimal points, and just kind of wanted to see where it went. So anyways, I say all that to say that if you're interested in making your game more realistic as far as yield numbers go and seeding rates go and all that, check out the fruit adjustments, because it's a really slick and easy way to set all your own parameters for that and make it to whatever you want to make it be. I mean, you can make it so totally unrealistic, or you can make the game more realistic, whatever you're into. So on the subject of all that, I got a question for you guys. And oh, by the way, YouTube is still being weird about some of the comments. So if you ask me a question in a comment and I don't answer within the first day, and you want to go to the trouble, ask me again, because comment again, because YouTube's still being strange, and it's making comments unavailable to me when there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with the comment. It doesn't have any vulgar language. It doesn't have any links in it or anything like that. It's just, for some reason, it's just making random comments unavailable. So, but I want to know what you guys think about Farming Simulator 2022. Now, at the time that I record this video, it's going to be released in a few days, and I'm gonna get the game. Obviously, I'm gonna play the game. I'm just curious. Would you guys like to see some videos from me from Farming Simulator 22? And if so, what kind of videos are you guys interested in seeing? Are you interested in seeing kind of reviews and my thoughts on the game? Are you interested in seeing me play the game in any certain way? Just kind of give me your thoughts. I'm pretty excited about FS22. The closer we get to the release date, and the more features they're beginning to show us, I think it's really going to be. I think it's going to be a neat game, and I think Giants has gone a long way in improving the core game itself, and not just making, the trees and the equipment look prettier. So, yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think. And I'm just going to park this truck right here for now. And we're going to walk back over to the farm, and we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm going to let it dry out a little bit more probably, so I'll catch up with you guys in a couple hours. Alright guys, we're back. It's just before noon. I went in and I ate a little bit of an early lunch, and as you can see, looking up at the sky, a lot of the clouds are starting to burn off. The sun has been out, and it's been shining for the past hour and a half. So I think we're probably ready to go on the wheat over there. We're gonna take the combine over, and we're gonna give it a try. Come on, close the door. Alright, so you may be asking, you may have thought, or you may not have thought, well, why didn't he just, take that load of wheat that was in the truck last night? Why did he bother to, put the combine in the barn, put the truck in the barn overnight? Well, it's because I like to play realistically, and in a lot of areas, I'd say most areas in Oklahoma, it doesn't matter if it's a mill, doesn't matter if it's a local co-op, a major co-op or grain terminal, they don't accept grain all night long. They have an hour in the morning, or they have a time in the morning where they begin accepting grain, and then they have a time in the evening where they're done accepting grain for the night. And so that's just one of the things that a farmer has to think about when they are, whenever they're harvesting. Eventually, that co-op or that terminal or whatever they are taking their grain to, eventually it's going to close for the day. And so then what do you do with the grain at night? Well, you have some choices. You can either shut down and not cut anymore for the day once your last truck is unloaded, or you can cut a truckload and put that on the truck to be emptied in the morning. Or if you have a couple of trucks and a grain cart, then you can cut 2 truckloads worth and a grain cart worth, as long as you have tarps on your trucks and tarp on your grain cart. But since I try to play realistically, I shut down. I told myself, okay, the co-op's going to close at 5. And so yesterday at 5 o'clock, I was able to keep cutting because I had an empty truck at 5 o'clock. I made sure that my truck was going to be empty at 5. And so I was able to finish up that field with just with one truck and a little bit left on the combine. So that's just one of the ways, and one of the little details that I think of that sort of makes my game more realistic, and then makes the logistics side of things a little harder for myself. Just like in real life, you can't combine all night typically. you know, due to the weather and the moisture conditions. Um, in real life, you can't take grain to the elevator all night. Now, there might be some ethanol plants and some things like that in the Midwest where they operate 24 hours a day. Um, but around Oklahoma, I can't think of any. I can't think of any grain facility other than maybe the Port of Cadusa part of the time that operates 24 hours a day. Now, they may have extended hours during harvest time, but I can't think of any place that operates 24 hours a day. In other news, I do have some good news from the Case International dealership. The 4490, which I have in the shop for a clutch replacement and possible other, you know, problem replacement. They've got the tractor split. The clutch was indeed bad. They found a shaft in the input shaft in the transmission. It seems like maybe the pilot bearing on the clutch had failed and it had chewed up the input shaft in the transmission a little. So they're going to replace that. They've looked into the rest of the transmission, pulled filters, pulled, you know, other things to try to diagnose. They haven't really seemed like they found any issues with the transmission itself. It's just the clutch and the input shaft. So that's going to get fixed, and well, I mean they're in the process of fixing it now, and it should be back to me before too long. While they have it in there, they're going to replace all of the universal joints on the axles. Because if you'll remember, this tractor, it's a big four-wheel drive tractor, but it's not articulated in the middle. It has four-wheel steering. So they're going to just look over the rest of the drivetrain, look over the kind of the rest of the tractor, and they were thinking within a week or so they should have it back to me. So that's good news. And it's not going to be more than it's going to be more than what I kind of hoped it was going to be, but they said it's going to be less than $8,000, $9,000. They think all total with parts and labor. So I'm excited to be getting that back as well. Okay, let's combine and kind of see what happens here. All right, we're going to see what kind of yields we get out of this field. Here we go. I'm going to turn on my mini map to see in real time what sort of yields we're getting here. Once again, it appears I'm using all the horsepower that I have, which is really not much. So this is according to the yield map down there. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, this is really good wheat. I mean, it's dark green on the yield map, so I'm assuming that this is some of the better wheat that we're probably going to see in the field, and that also is indicated by down in the left-hand corner or right-hand corner. You can see our yield in bushel per acre is 82, and so that would be a pretty good yield for here in Oklahoma. 82 bushels the acre for non-irrigated wheat, and the vast majority of the wheat in Oklahoma is non-irrigated. You know, if you had 82 bushels the acre, 86 bushels the acre, that's pretty outstanding. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a little bit of time-lapse footage here for a while for you guys. So sit back and hopefully enjoy. Alright guys, we got us a good little spot here cut out so we can put the truck and have plenty of room to maneuver. Go ahead and shut our header down, and now we can swap over, shut our separator down, put our auger out, and we're gonna hop out and see if we can figure out some place to drive this grain truck through the trees. And I think we could either go right through there. Yep, I think maybe right through here. I think if we can go right through here, we can sneak this truck through. So as you guys can see, when you're playing by yourself or you're harvesting, combining by yourself, and you're the only one around, you kind of have to cut the field um, with with how you're going to get back to the truck in mind. That's kind of why I took kind of a strange path there. But guys, I think I'm gonna finish the video here. I'd like to thank you guys for following me along today. I hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, if you comment and I don't respond within about the first day or so, it's probably YouTube just being dumb, and I don't know why all of a sudden I've started having the problem. Hopefully they can get it fixed before too long. Guys, thanks so much for following me along. I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you're looking forward to the content to come. There's going to be some new stuff coming. Oh, by the way, I'll show you real quick that I was able to pay off my loan with the proceeds from Field 35. So, got that done. But guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the thumbs up that you guys give me. And we will see you soon.